Hello friends, welcome back to the Craft Castle. This week is going to be a super fun week. We are going to be doing a whole theme of 4th of July projects. I'm so excited. First, we're going to start off with 2 different types of t-shirts. Today is going to be an easier version of a t-shirt, not super basic, not like one word cut out. We're going to do a couple layers of something, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And then the second one that we're going to do is a t-shirt that has multiple layers of HTV. So we'll learn how to layer HTV. Then we have some wood signs that are going to be super fun to make. You can make them on the Cricuts, but I'm going to do mine on the laser cutters. So to start, we are making a USA themed t-shirt for 4th of July, and I am just going, all you're going to need is 2 sheets of HTV, preferably red and blue since we're doing 4th of July theme. And then a white t-shirt. We are going to want to make sure that it's white because we need some stars and stripes in this, right? And so we got the white for the stars and stripes and then the blue and the red for everything else that is like red, white, and blue themed, right? Okay, so all you're going to need for this project outside of the materials right here, you're just going to need to have Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to show you how to download a font. I don't think I've ever shown you, so I can show you how to download a font. And I think that's about it. It's going to be super easy, super simple. So let me shrink myself down here. First and foremost, this is a little sneak of the t-shirt design that we are going to make today. I know this is not white. We will get to that. But to start, we need to download a font. I will link this font in the description of the video. So if you don't want to go searching for it, just click the link in this video and it'll take you to this page. It is called Varsity Team, and I'm on defont.com. I love this website. It is filled of a bunch of free fonts, which is amazing. So if you don't already have this font and you're up here, right here, go over into download and press the download. Down here, this little folder, that's where it went, is into my downloads folder, and I'm just going to click that. Come up here to this one, double click it. I'm not going to press this button, but you can if it's not on here. Put this right here, install font. And then it's going to install. It will, if you go back into Design Space, it's already installed on my computer, so which is why it won't show it. But if you were to put a text box in and try and change your font to Varsity, it won't like auto load. It's because you have to exit out of this. And how you exit out of Cricut Design Space is do a right click and then press quit. That is going to make it to where it's completely out of, you've closed out completely from Cricut Design Space. When you do that, open it up again and create a new canvas, and then you'll be to where we are now. Yes, it's really easy. If you've done it once, you know how to do it. Okay, so now that you've downloaded that font into Design Space, open up a text box right here with your caps lock on, put USA. I've already chosen it right here, but if it's not, go up here into font and just search Varsity and then change the font over. Okay, I'm going to make this really big, and actually I'm going to do it as 11.5. Now, I am doing an adult large t-shirt, and I like the size of 11.5. That's like my favorite size for the decal. It fills up the shirt really well. So if you're going to be doing a smaller shirt, make the font, the initial font of whatever you're doing, that size, so we don't have to resize it, because doing these stars really small later might be a little difficult to resize. Okay, if you like this spacing of your letters, you can just leave it as is, or you can come up here to advanced and ungroup letters, and we can slide this over just a little bit if you wanted to. We're going to make that a little bit smaller, tight, and go up, select all, go to align, and then I am going to make sure that I'm just going to evenly distribute it again, just so that S is like perfectly centered between the U and the A. Now that we have that, right click and press weld. That means like we just put it together. So this is one file. And I'm going to come back up here because when we adjusted the letter spacing, it made it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to come back up here and do 11.5 and then press enter. So now it readjusted the size of the decal. So that's going to be, this is going to be our finished decal size right here. This is going to be our finished t-shirt design that we have. So we want to kind of mimic this, right? This is the final result that we're going to need. So how we're going to do that? Do you see how like the top has stars and the bottom has stripes? all you want to do is take this button right here, press that, and then insert a square. Select that USA, and it's at 5 inches, right? The height of my letters is 5 inches. Take this box, unlock it right here, and I'm going to make my height half of the total height. So if my total height is 5, then I'm going to make the height of this box 2.5, because 2.5 plus 2.5 is 5. And then I'm going to make this the width, which is the long ways. We're going to make it 12. And yes, that's bigger than your decal, and that's kind of what you want right now. And then all you have to do now is hold both of those, press a line, and then center horizontally, and then go up here again, and then align to the top. So that means it's going to be perfectly in the middle for you. Now that we have that, move this down just a little bit. There is a glitch right now in Design Space. I'll show you what it looks like. If I were to hold both of these and press duplicate, see how it adjusted in? Yeah, that's annoying. It happens all the time. It's going to happen even worse when we do the stars. So instead of doing that, the workaround for this is select both of these, group, and then duplicate. And now it's stuck like how it was supposed to be. If you watch this later and there is no glitch, then skip this whole group thing. We're going to slide that down. We're going to go back up to the one that we just did. Make sure to ungroup this, select all of this, and right click and press slice. Now, it's very important. Don't move any of this, like slide it left and right. You don't want to do that. So just take this, just click your bottom USA, and just take your arrow key and slide down just a little bit. That just kind of ensures that we're not going to slide this over. You don't want that to happen. Now what we want to do is delete this top portion that is going to be this. We don't need that. And you're going to be left with 2 USAs. Just delete the top one. You don't need that. Now you're left with 1, and you can tell it's over here. You can left with 1 bottom USA and then 1 top USA. Remember, don't move these around left and right. They can go up and down. Don't move them left and right, because it's going to mess around with the spacing, the adjustments, and that's the important part that we need here to do the hack later on. So now that we have that, all you want to do is add in your shapes. So just go over here into shape, and we're going to choose a star. I'm going to change this color over. Let's do a brighter red so we can see. And this is like, you can do any size. This is like a free-for-all. Whatever size you want, you can do. The easiest way to do this before there was a glitch in copy and pasting is you would select both and then copy paste. And do you see how it like readjusted? This like glitch is driving me crazy. So all you're going to do is the same thing we did before, is select both, group, and then duplicate. And you're just going to, and now it's over here. So you just want to keep doing that until you fill up the very top portion of your USA. Because the left side of the U is the same as the right side of the U, all I'm going to do now is take my mouse and I'm going to click all the little stars here, press group, and then duplicate. This makes it super easy to then just make the same on the other side. Please notice that I have not resized any of the stars. I don't want some stars to be smaller than the others. So if you feel like if you go down here and this is like if your star is too big for this little section, just resize all the stars at this point. Don't only resize the ones that are down here. Trust me, when you go to cut this and put this on the shirt, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb that some of your stars are going to be a little bit smaller than all the rest of them. The other glitch that's going on right now is in Design Space. When you go to flip, these are backwards. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. With this right here, eventually we're going to want to flip this horizontally because we're working with HTV. If you go over in a flip and you do horizontally, it goes vertically, like the two are mixed up. If this is still happening for you, press undo, select all, and press vertically. And now, yes, yeah. Way to mess with your brain. Now that you have all of your stars, go into your toolbox thing, and you're going to select every single star that you have. When you have every single star, drag this over, and I'm going to press weld. So we're welding that all together. The hack that I'm getting ready to show you later on when we do the boxes and stuff is for you don't have to weed the stars. I absolutely do not like weeding any type of vinyl. So if I can avoid weeding, I will, and avoid weeding all of these stars, I am going to do. Instead of slicing this into the red, I'm going to keep it the way that it is for right now. And I will show you in a second how we're going to make sure that they all line up. With that being said, if you don't mind weeding and you would like to, just weed, all you need to do is select both of these, right click and press slice. And then you are going to delete the stars and you're left with is this right here. That's what you want to do. I am not doing it that way. Again, it's because I don't want to weed the stars. So I am going to just go all the way back until I get to where we were. Now it's time to work on the stripes. So all you need to do is go into shapes and just put in a box. And I'm gonna put this over into blue just so it's easier to see. Unlock this. All of these new Cricut changes are obnoxious. So I'm gonna unlock the proportions, and now you can move this around freely. It is very important when you're making these stripes, if you cut out this like small little portion of the, like if you make it this big, this is gonna be like your white stripe, your first white stripe. If you do it like that, the A would look a little weird. It's very, it's very important. And if you end up not liking it, you can always reverse and undo and go back. But I wanted to make my stripes a little bit smaller to where we don't delete this little area of the A. This is going to be my first stripe. Copy and paste. See how it's going everywhere again. And we just want to fill this place up. Select both, group and duplicate so it doesn't go haywire again. Select all of that, group and duplicate. The extra steps that we have to take right now because of this glitch is it just stinks. And then duplicate again. And we have too much, right? Like we have way too many stripes for not enough letters. So just ungroup that and delete everything until you're kind of left with just a little bit. Now, ungroup all of the lines. Make sure nothing's grouped. These added steps stink, but we got to do what we got to do. Find the fixes for the glitches and keep on moving. Okay, select all of your lines. Do you see how we have a little bit left over here? That means that we don't have long enough lines. So we're going to select all of these. Go over here to align and go to the left. And then we're going to line and then vertically. That is going to evenly space them all throughout. Come up here to your unlock button and just drag this to where it covers all of the bottom part of the USA. You can see right here, my very first one is going to be a white. We have a white one. Click that and then find your bottom part of your USA right here. Press shift and click the bottom of the USA and then come over here and press slice. Then we're left with some slice results. So we want to delete that one and that one and that one. Now skip the blue. Skip this second blue line. That is going to be the blue that you want. So then we're going to go to the third line. Select your USA again, the bottom portion of your USA again, and press slice. We're going to delete everything besides your big USA. So you are left with 1, 2, 3. Trust the process. Skip this blue line and then go down to the third, to whichever one we're on now. Press shift, grab your big USA again and press slice. And then delete everything but your big portion of USA. And then skip one, move on to the next. Go shift and click your USA and press slice. And delete everything but the big portion of USA. Now we're going to skip one and we're going to go down to the very bottom one. Do that and then press slice. And delete everything but the big portion of USA. Now you can go in and delete all the rest of your blue lines. And we're going to change this to blue. And now you got your blue, now you got your USA for the bottom. So why don't we change the top portion of the USA to red. And then we'll change our stars to white. There we go. So this is what our final t-shirt's going to look like. This is what your final t-shirt's going to look like when we get to cutting it and assembling it. In order to, because we did not slice this, right? This is what it is right now. Command, and we're going to go back. You need this little thin box right here. So go back up into shapes, and actually we have one down here. Ungroup that. We have one down here. We can delete this USA, and all I'm gonna do is make this box just a little bit bigger. Go up here to the unproportion and make this box just a little bit bigger. This is also so you don't waste so much HTV. Here into offset, and we're gonna make a really small border. You don't need to make a really large border for this, only because we're only using it to trick the crickets. We'll cut this in a little bit. So then press apply. When you have that and you have this small border, select both of your boxes, right click and press slice. You are gonna delete all of the inside of the box, and you're gonna be left with is that small little outline. Because we have 3 layers, a blue, white, and red, we're gonna need 3 of these. So select that slice that you just did and duplicate this 2 times. So you have 3 boxes. Now, just to make sure this is completely centered, select only the boxes, go up here and press align and then center. And then it doesn't really matter if it's center to your actual decal right now. You just want to make sure that that outline is completely center on itself. Now, select your top box and then find your bottom USA. Select both of those, right click and press attach. And then select your next top box and find your USA, your red USA, right click and press attach wherever it's at. Right click and press attach. Then you want to do your last box and your stars, select all and press attach. Make this bigger. Okay, so now look what you're left with. You're left with a white box that has some stars. You're left with a red box that has the top of the USA, and then you're left with a blue box with the lines of the USA. In theory, this is going to work, I promise. Okay, so when it comes to HTV, you always have to flip. Don't forget, I have done like a really, really big banner project for a really large company. I cut all of the HTV, and then as I was weeding it, I realized I did not mirror any of the HTV. It was a nightmare. So I always like to select my decal of what it is, and then go over into flip and remember that glitch. If in normal, if there is no glitch, you want to flip horizontally, but now because we have the glitch, I'm going to flip vertically. So it's going to flip it like that. That's essentially what you want. And then when you go into make it, we're going to have 2 decals, but when you go into make it, do you see how it's all, I can probably show you right here. See how this one is mirrored and this one is not, or this one is mirrored and this one is not? You want it to look like you can't read it for you. That's exactly what you're looking for. Okay, we're gonna cancel this. Now, go ahead and start cutting this. I'm going to leave my computer and I'll show you what it looks like on the machines for you, but start cutting this. Grab your HTV and then watch me cut my decal. Okay, we are at the crickets now. If you have not already done it, make sure and flip your HTV, mirror your HTV. If you haven't, do that now. Make sure that your machine is set to HTV, and we're going to start with the red. Cricut is going to tell you, in Design Space, it's going to tell you to start with white. Don't start with white. Start with red. And we're going to load this in, and we're going to cut the red. Bonus tip for this is I always like to make sure that my vinyl or HTV will weed before I eject the mat. So I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to weed just a little bit. Okay, eject your mat, but don't wiggle around your mat. So make sure and eject it, but don't let it like slide around a lot. Go to your computer and click on the white. Now we're going to work on the stars and push the mat back in. We are going to change the cut setting to like a deeper cut setting. I'm going to use cardstock plus for mine because I want to be able to cut through this plastic carrier sheet. Then when you're ready to do that, press the cut button. Now that it's done cutting, before you eject it, I'm just going to come over here to the plastic portion and see how now it's completely cut through and that is still stuck there. So theoretically, when I take this plastic piece off, see how the stars are staying onto the mat? That's exactly what you want. Yay! So now eject that. We are going to do the blue. Make sure, and when you do this, we are going to switch this back over to HTV and then press the cut. Okay, eject this and let's go weed it. So now what you should be left with is some blue that you need to weed, and then this red, which I've already, I don't know why I have that spatula. So you just need your weeding tool, and we're going to weed out the red square. Now, some of these stars, because my mat isn't very sticky, did not stay with the mat, which is fine. All I'm going to do is just pick out the leftovers of the stars. This is what you don't want, because the white shirt will peek through of this. Okay, now that you have all the stars already picked out, so you can see my hand, just take your weeding tool and we are going to weed out the excess vinyl. See, look at that, love that. Now, all you need to do is weed out your blue, because I don't want to waste HEV, so all this stuff that isn't been cut is still usable. So this right here we can use for a later project, but now everything else with this box needs to be weeded. Make sure and weed everything but your stripes that you want. Because we created that box, now we're left with is like this and this, right? But you have a little bit up here. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this around, trim up your carrier sheet. I'm gonna do the same with these stripes. Okay, lining this up just like how it's supposed to look. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of heat transfer tape and I'm just going to put it on just the transfer sheet. This is going to keep it together for when you go to press it. You could do this 2 separate presses starting with the red first, but HTV has a tendency to shrink on you. Although poly tape doesn't shrink as much, it still has a tendency to shrink, and it would be awfully hard to line this up if it did shrink a little bit on you. So that's why I like to do everything before pressing. Now that that's done, we're going to pick this up. That's why I have my spatula in my hand. The little trick of the trade of having to figure out what the middle is fold this over and line up your decal to the center, and then just pinching the very top and bottom of your decal. That kind of gives you the center. You can see it, that there's a little bend right here and a little bend right here. That is the center of your decal. And then also to find the center of a shirt, people sell guides. I don't really like the guides. All I do is I fold my t-shirt in half, give it one good shake, go into your heat press, and just press this for like a second. All you're doing is you're creating kind of a little bit of a crease in your shirt, so you can line up your creases to here to your creases to your t-shirt that you already have. Lay this back out, and it should not be a hard crease, but you can see it right here. There's like a small little crease right here. Again, it should not be a really bad crease, because you don't want that, but just enough to where you're like, okay, this is the center. Now all you want to do is line up the center lines of your decal to the center of your shirt. How I always measure is taking my 3 fingers and laying it down onto the base of the collar, not the top of the collar, the base where the ribbed is. Doing the 3, lining up one crease, and then lining up the bottom crease with the bottom. This carrier sheet is pretty sticky, but I always like to just do a couple more just so it doesn't fall off and get loose. Okay, now all we want to do is we're going to press this. Because I'm using poly tape, it seriously only takes 3 seconds to press your the HTV. It's 265 for 3 seconds. It's so quick. So I'm just going to lay this down, slide my heat press over, and I'm going to clamp this down for 3 seconds. I'm going to open it back up, and I'm going to peel. All of this is garbage. Now you're left with a finished t-shirt. Bonus, I always like to then repress again, because sometimes when you're lifting up, the the adhesion of the adhesive tends to come up a little bit. So I always like to just throw in like a piece of paper or parchment paper or silicone mat or something. And I'm gonna repress this for another couple seconds. Open this back up. And there is our finished shirt. Look at that. Our finished t-shirt, USA theme, super quick, super easy, and you did not have to weed any of those stars. Hallelujah. So if you had like, we're doing like a really small one for a small kiddo and trying to weed out those small little pieces, now you don't have to. All right, y'all, I hope this tutorial was super helpful for you. I will see you on the next video for a harder double layer HTV t-shirt.